love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming. I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. That majority of the conversation is driven by white supremacists who believe in the replacement theory and who think that by allowing immigrants in this country that their supposed white nation is going to end. The one place where we thought we would never experience this is the U.S. states.
So fraud scandals have been rocking Minnesota for months now, really years. It's just now we know all about them. And fresh scrutiny is happening on one of the state's biggest political names while all that fraud is going on. Far-left Democrat Ilhan Omar is facing a House investigation involving her and her husband. You see, their financial fortunes have exploded in the last few years.
3,500% increase
Tim Mynett's
in a year.
wine business have jumped from just $51,000 to nearly $30 million a year. That wine must be delicious. That's a stunning rise. And you know what else is rising? Eyebrows. Especially given Omar and her allies' long history of railing against wealth, profit, capitalism.
We need to make sure that we're holding special interests accountable, that we're getting money out of politics, that we are taxing the uber rich, right. That the 1% gets to pay their fair share.
The only people who benefit from this bill are toy spaceship billionaires like Elon Musk and Donald Trump himself.
Those kinds of spoils that they are rolling in are not earned.
Isn't it fun getting lectured by these limousine liberals?
Stealing them.
Each one of these two ladies is multimillionaires.
Well, from all that, maybe
making
$180,000 a year. Some toy
spacecraft
that we don't know about. Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. Chad.
Harris, good morning. The wealth of Pressley and Omar have jumped since they were elected to Congress. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer took the unique step of asking his panel to probe Omar and not the Ethics Committee.
The Ethics Committee has jurisdiction over members of Congress. The two businesses in question are owned by Ms. Omar's husband. So the Ethics Committee does not have jurisdiction over a spouse, only a member.
Omar contends she did nothing wrong, but says her rapid wealth stems from her husband. He has a consulting business which may be worth millions. Plus, the couple had an interest in a California wine operation. The wealth of congressional spouses is complicated, especially if they are responsible for most of the income.
Sometimes there's income that they're bringing in where there are questions as to whether the way that income is made may conflict with the day-to-day job duties of the member of Congress.
Exactly.
Oversight Committee Democrats find it strange that their committee is probing Omar.
I don't think that we should be playing politics with this committee. It's unprecedented to go after another member. There's a procedure. There's a House Ethics Committee. We've never done that with members. There's a different procedure for House Ethics, which we have. So I don't know why we're trying to politicize the committee.
Now, on the wine operation, one label was called Blockchain. It was described as featuring aromas of blackberry and baking spices. The sales pitch said you would not want to trade it even on the dark web. It sold for $7, Harris.
You'd have to sell a lot of bottles to get to millions. Interesting. Chad, thank you. And focus now. Kaylee McGee-White, a Fox News contributor.
You know, this is really the critical piece because both Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, who's also being investigated as well, these are two members of the squad, and both of the husbands, in both instances, were the ones that drove the multi-million-dollar contracts. In Pressley's instance, her husband was put behind bars for 10 years. Then Pressley gets into Congress, and now he's a multi-million-dollar consultant. Don't know what he's consulting on, He has no business expertise. And again, he was behind bars for 10 years. In this instance, there's $7 bottles of wine that are driving this exponential growth, 3,500%. So let me ask you this question. Did your family go through a 35% net worth increase from 2023 to 24? These limousine liberals need to be held accountable because this type of wealth increase does not come easily. And certainly there's nothing that strikes me, at least in the case of both Ilhan Omar's husband or Pressley's husband, where they seem to be geniuses. This is again like the similarity is with Nancy Pelosi, right? Being just a genius stock trader when we all know she's insider trading. So are these genius consultants just once in a lifetime consultants that can go from, $1 million to $32 million in a year net worth? This is outrageous and should be investigated.
Look, there's a whole lot of money on Capitol Hill, both sides of the aisle. And you could say that you want to follow all the money trail. Look at the Shush Fund, where women were being quieted for some of the discrimination that was going on the Hill. So we get that. This is a very specific case. Why is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was doing a bit of research into Tim Mynett, Ilhan Omar's husband's various businesses, and his investment firm, it has no known clients, no known investment deals. It doesn't even have an active SEC registration. And his winery, which is also purportedly making him millions of dollars per year, has no online presence. It has no marketable products available for purchase online. And get this, back in 2024, an investor into that winery actually sued Mynett and his business partners, alleging that they had fraudulently misrepresented the winery as a legitimate business operation. So yeah, maybe there's a version of events here in which, of course, all of this is conveniently timed with his wife's election to Congress and her growing considerable influence in the Democratic Party. And maybe there is a version of events in which Ilhan Omar and her husband have just been extremely fortunate. But in that case, you would think that Ilhan Omar might be a bit more appreciative for this country in the ways in which it's aided her success. But I look at these events and I think they have cracked the Hunter Biden playbook. And I think that there are many other people in Washington, D.C. who watched the success of the influence peddling scheme that the Biden family ran. And more importantly, they saw that the Biden family faced zero consequences for that scheme. And they decided to try and replicate the results themselves. So I do hope that James Comer is successful at cracking what is actually going on here, because I think that she's probably not the only one in Washington with some considerable wealth to answer for.
And that's exactly the point, right? When you go to Washington in debt, in Omar's case, right, she had $55,000 of student loans when she went in, and then coming out 3-4 years later worth $32 million. There's no question that there's fraud behind that. There's no question that this is the playbook. It's exactly the playbook. My concern is this, though. Does James Comer have the stones to hold her accountable? Because as of yet, here's a question for you in the comments. What has James Comer done since he's been in the Oversight Committee? Who's in jail for any of his investigations? Him and Jim Jordan have talked more crap on Sean Hannity with zero results. I can't think of one investigation that Jim Jordan or Comer has led to the criminal prosecution of anybody that they're looking into. I just can't. And that's what concerns me here. Because if you can't come away with a conviction, then this was purely political. Using the investigative and subpoena powers of Congress, this is a slam dunk case. If you or I did this, the IRS would be all over us. But will they do the right thing in holding their own accountable? That's the question of this story. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you've yet to subscribe to America First Alerts, please do so. We'd love to have you along for the ride. We'll see you in the next story.
We won! Okay, let's go. We won.